right now, Goose?
I am, yeah. I can show you around a little bit. If we called last week, before 3 days ago, I could have shown you my view of the pyramids where we stand, Philip. But I'll be back. In the meantime, we've got this cool little. Here, I'll show you. It's like this really cozy oasis in the middle of a desert, and in the back, maybe even if you're lucky, I'll take you upstairs in a little bit. You can see the view of everywhere around, but it's like this beautiful little pool area and like a bunch of grass, which this is the first time I've seen grass in Egypt.
So
It's
beautiful.
lovely. And it's hot as shit. But I was like, I don't know, should I be naked? Maybe next time.
It's a different live stream.
That's right. I usually get paid for that one.
You guys are getting paid?
Yeah. Sorry to break the news to you, man. And also, sorry, I just finished all the grapes. I have no more.
Damn
You
it.
did offer to share. You kind of held them to the screen at the start, so that's our bad. Sarah, did you have anything else planned today? Because you said we do these on Wednesdays. You're a little in a kerfuffle. No, you're good.
Goose is lagged out on the internet. Sarah's not speaking. And are we live? We're live, aren't we?
Yeah, we're live. We're off to. It says we have 2 people watching. We're off to a great start.
We are killing it, team. Okay, but how do these run? What's the plan, Mr. Facilitator?
All right, you guys said you wanted to chat, and I just wanted to hang out. This is me still working on school and taking a break. We have fun things to hang out, and we're gonna end, and then school news is gonna start. So I guess any guesses on updates this week? Anything Sam said was coming, we think is going to be here?
Ooh, interesting. In terms of features, what do we know? You can take payments in Skool. That's really cool. You can do that in 4 different ways: monthly, annual, lifetime. No, not lifetime, one time, or like monthly and annual. I think those are the 4 different ways you can do it. There's all 4. So I don't think they're going to launch anything to do with that. Is it a full moon? No, that was last week. So we should be fine on that one too. No idea. Kind of just go with the the full moon. Yeah, he should add like a cat full moon playlist or something.
We're releasing the full moon patch.
100%. No idea.
Yeah,
I guess we'll find out
they
in
might
30 minutes.
Is my internet like going really slow here? Can you see me okay?
Yep.
We can kind of hear you now. You're still a little choppy.
Okay, here, let me switch Wi-Fi's. Let's see if this works. I might disappear for a second.
What's been your favorite feature, Sarah, that has like come to Skool this year, 2025?
Did affiliates drop this year? I can't remember. My mom brain is like not working very well. Affiliates would be one. I'm not as like keen on the classroom thing because I'm not one that like puts the same shit in multiple places, but I'm interested to see, like, I'm still letting my brain kind of chew on how I could use that for sure. Maybe today, because I saw Sam mention a few weeks ago that being able to pay in different methods, like I know they mentioned it last fall that Google Pay and Apple Pay was coming, and then it never did. But then I saw somebody in Skoolers mention that, you know, they would really love to have PayPal or something else. And I think Sam mentioned that it was coming in the next 30 or 60 days. So maybe that's something that is coming soon.
Yeah, cool. Love that. I would actually love to have a bit more of a conversation around affiliates, because I don't think I've really seen anyone using it to its full advantage. And if I could preface the conversation going into it, if you have 100 members in your community, sometimes you don't need to consistently keep bringing more people in, but you can monetize from within already with those 100 members. But I don't see too many people leaning into that as hard as they would, creating more content, generating more traffic, getting new leads all the time. It's like, you've already got the leads, make the most of it. Maybe Goose, you could kind of touch on some of the people that you've worked with on the platform, or stuff that you might be doing around your affiliate side of things. What's working for you, or kind of what's your plan or thesis thinking around using that feature?
That is a great question. Yeah, probably. I think it's likely something that we'll be seeing more of within the next like 6 months to a year. So I think you're right. Affiliates and super affiliates. That's the thing that seems to be happening a lot behind the scenes. So Keo's a really good example. Keytron. He does most of his business off platform, actually. And a lot of it that he's been slowly moving onto the platform is all of these referral links. And he's been assembling quite a collection of classrooms that has different offers, but they don't have time to put together a whole marketing plan and strategy. So they just put it in with Keo's, and if it fits within his vertical for the ideal clients, then they buy, and they often do. So even something which I would not have predicted, but this is the second time I've heard about this now, William Milliken with Poop Scoop Millionaire, he also has a really good setup there too. But in Keo's side, a surprising amount of people have like wrap car company partnerships. And so they'll just like refer that, and they get a pretty good kickback from that, which I didn't even realize was a thing until I started hearing about it a bunch this year. So it's interesting because it doesn't necessarily have to do anything with your niche. It's just you built followers and super fans, and all of a sudden now you can have like a fairly wide vertical and be like, hey, if you want to get your car wrapped someday and you're in this area, like instead of it being a traditional like online vertical, now it's like a little bit more geographical. Yeah, that's what I've been seeing. And so I suspect that we're probably going to have maybe some outstanding people probably by the end of next quarter start talking about it a lot more, that are like killing it with revenue using that strategy, using the affiliate and the super affiliate.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's something that people should probably tap into more, especially even from a small group. Like if you're someone on Skool that has maybe just even a few paying members, so just asking that question, like, hey, is there any friends in your network that are also interested in the same thing that you're interested in? Why don't you invite them in so they can hang out here with you as well? I feel like that whole section of making money slips people's minds when at the end of the day, you're not even doing the selling, you're just starting the conversation, which is what starts the community in the first place. It's like, start the conversation to bring people in and say, hey, this conversation's happening over here, a community forms, and then ask them to bring that person in so they start the conversation for you. You can almost move yourself out of it and grow purely through affiliates and referrals. I think one person that does quite well with that is 𝙂𝙊𝙊𝙎𝙁𝙔. A lot of his business is built off of word of mouth and referrals from his clients that he works with. And so he doesn't really have to do all of the hard work that a lot of people will spend a lot of money on paid ads and traffic, because he's just working with the people that he's already worked with to help bring new business. Yeah, I definitely want to see more people really start to leverage that. I think I had my first specific person come through, I guess, into my ecosystem from a client. And they met at a in-person event, and because they were my client, they knew, and then it connected and brought them through. I'm like, oh, it's just such a nice feeling to speak to people like that, because your client and the person that's a part of your community and what you're doing is doing the work for you. And it definitely far outweighs anything that you can put in front of them in the first place.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing more beginners start utilizing that that tool, the idea of the affiliate, because you're right. I mean, I think people like 𝙂𝙊𝙊𝙎𝙬𝙁 have it brilliantly assembled, where you can almost like watch the fulfillment process happen in front of you, and you're just earning goodwill and hanging out with everybody, and everything's going great. And just take notes and learn, and not even be caught up in the fulfillment process of it. I mentioned William Milliken earlier. He's the Poop Scoop Millionaire dude, and he has this awesome system where a lot of people need to be registered with a business, with their state, with Secretary of State before, and get an EIN before they can start processing clients. And so his vertical starts with affiliates start immediately, where I forget what he told me, but it was something like 45% or more of all the clients that this company has come from him, and they give him like a 40% commission, or something like staggering on it. And so it's like it's its own revenue stream now, and it's something that he doesn't have the time to help his clients like get registered in the state of Texas or whatever in order to start being able to sell his clients. So it's something that in many cases I think may even become necessary to be able to just focus on the thing that you do really well, and then just get a cut of the rest of the process.
Well, I had two beginner examples of good and bad for affiliates. I just copy paste cut Sam's meme contest to be a B pun contest, and one member through Facebook groups netted like 20 to 30 new members into the community. And I know I've been doing a great job at fostering that, just because that's not been my focus, like my priority, but that's really good. From one contest, 20 to 30 new members in a free community with no offer. So put an offer behind that and have that roll out, right? And then in a negative aspect, that was with just no direction, just here are the rules, copy paste. And another one I had when affiliates first came out, it was like, hey, we've turned on affiliates, this is paid, go do this, go do whatever. And it was somebody who did like a copy paste with a secondary account to just like who searched somebody and found somebody who looked like the person who was a good fit for the community. And it just went terrible, because then that person DM'd me, was like, hey, just, this dumb stuff is happening over here. So that's like good and bad at like beginner levels in terms of using affiliates. So like be prepared, but also it is as easy as just run a contest and, give stuff away or do something that's fun, right?
Oh yeah,
Definitely.
I really love what you mentioned, Goose, about putting things in your classroom for affiliates that aren't necessarily like specifically related to your niche, right? Because I work with a lot of like neurospicy or multi-passionate people, like coaching them and stuff. And they're always like, well, I can't just do this one thing, right? Well, this is a way that you can implement the other things that you're passionate about and share them. And you then, because if you are fully authentically in yourself and you're exuding that, you tend to attract similar people. Like I'm neurospicy, and I have a lot of neurospicy entrepreneurs in my space and multi-passionate people just like me. And so then I can be like, we talk about the moon in my space, right? Well, maybe if there's like another group on Skool that, talks about the moon, or, that's a generic example, but then I could, have that affiliate, for that group in that space, or I can put something, oh, you want to deep dive into this. It's not really around the business stuff, but here is, something, and then you can share it with your friends, right? I'm moving a lot slower than you guys because I have so many other things like the 7 kids and the marriage and all that stuff and homesteading. But the other thing that I've really been working on with affiliates is meeting and chatting with people who have offers that complement mine. Right? Like I can help people with ads. I can help people with this and that, but that's not really what brings me a shit ton of joy. So I would rather make relationships and friendships with people that do those things and do them well. And they're not doing the generic, template, hustle, culture bullshit stuff. And when I foster that relationship and then I'm in their space, I'm like, ooh, this is really cool, right? So I'm compiling a list of things that can help with a video at the front saying, hey, we're not going to get into the shiny object syndrome, right? But when you're ready, here are the things that I've vetted, so you don't have to go and like chase your tail trying to find something that actually delivers what they promise, right?
Yeah, big time. Being able to vet that. I mean, honestly, it's quite difficult. I know that when you're getting started in a space, I mean, that was certainly true for myself. The number of shiny objects that you could drop a few $1,000s on that all could potentially give you the answer, but some of them may be a lot better than others. It's tough to not be able to necessarily know where to spend your money when you're trying to learn a thing or achieve a thing or figure out how to do a thing.
I'm about to undergo transitioning a entrepreneur community based here in Koh Samui and Koh Phangan, across the two islands, and it's probably like a directory of 300 people. And every Friday they do a entrepreneurs lunch, like at the same restaurant that everyone goes to. It's a really unique event and experience. They is run by a guy named Matt. He's actually from Australia as well, and you get all walks of life pull up to that kind of event. There's people that have never been there before that want to check it out and see what it's about. There's people that have been there for over a year because it's a long-term entrepreneurs community that has been putting together. And one thing that he's been looking at doing with this is there's all of these businesses that are, everyone has their own business and their own offer and their own product and things that they want to do and they want to talk about and share. He wants to kind of connect that. And so we're going to bring him to Skool to put all of that in place so he can actually showcase and share those businesses a lot easier than I think where it's currently at. It's just a Facebook group. So looking at bringing him onto Skool to do that, and then a few other ideas that he's had where I think Skool as a tool and software is starting to make a lot of sense now for the early majority of people, which I think we're about to move into that phase. I was looking into it a lot today, the diffusion of innovation. And all of us last year that were on the platform, we're all considered early adopters. I still think we're somewhat in a chasm and transition to the first point of going into the early majority. And the early majority are those people that see it as a great concept and an idea. It has more of its proof around it. So as people stay in this process of being on Skool and getting wins consistently and doing that, there's more proof and trust in it rather than it being more of a riskier thing that someone might want to move into. Hence, people that are older are now starting to hear about Skool. And when I pull up to these events, because I'm in a Skool t-shirt every day, they go, "Oh, Skool." And I'm like, "You look like you found out about it 2 weeks ago." So it's interesting to see how, just honestly, how small the bubble's been. Because even when I went to this entrepreneur event, I would mention so many things, and the only times ears started to perk up was like when I mentioned 𝙂𝙊𝙊𝙎𝙬𝙁, and that's because he's so big on that brand. So it's like Skool is still so small at the end of the day with everything that's going on. So it's going to be interesting to see all of these. I think the main majority of community people start to see the value in Skool over the next, I'm going to give it like a 2 to 3 year window of the early majority of people really transitioning their businesses and the more of that corporate structure in a way to something like Skool to handle and become their main business. Yeah, I've noticed it a lot this month with the people that we're working with, where they have these big teams and processes and systems and everything, and they're just like, I don't want the complexity, I just want the simplicity. And I think that we sit on the simple side of life on the platform that we're on, thanks to our gang leader, Sam.
Yeah, it's interesting what you say about the transition to different, like what kind of doors it opens up. I mean, just as sort of a blanket statement, we all know it, but like the difference between having a Facebook group versus having a Skool group is just night and day. I don't even know if I consider it like the same thing. It's just so much more equipped for whatever your purpose is without the distraction, And I think because of that strength is probably why it has started becoming such a powerful tool for like people in small regions, like you're talking about in Koh Phangan and Koh Samui. which, these aren't the biggest places, but still the network can be hard to reach. And then all of a sudden you use a tool like Skool and boom, everyone can become within arm's length pretty quickly. And what was missing there? Well, just kind of a streamlined thing that could connect everybody together. And lo and behold, we haven't really had something like that yet, other than like posting on a physical bulletin in a place where we're all going to where it's going to be getting like foot traffic every day. It's fascinating that this like whole community thing has only kind of just started picking up when, we all know what the word means. It just never really got digitized properly. Social media was kind of like a swing and a miss at it. And now we're finally getting there. And like just now we're like, oh, hey, here's this brand new way. Like affiliates you were talking about, or regional, maybe even IRL cases, but whatever it is, just like the ability to be able to do that is new and fucking cool, man.
Yeah, I think it's almost, at least for me, how I've been thinking, I think it's going to be almost unreasonable that your business isn't on these types of platforms in the very near future. I think that it's still a little bit too early to make a judgment call like that, but more or less a prediction around, because of how they are set up, say a Skool or a 𝙂𝙊𝙊𝙎𝙬𝙁 or a 𝙂𝙊𝙊𝙬𝙀 or a Circle, with this idea of adding community to it, removing those distractions where you can just focus in on getting the right information and things that you want. I really can't see why someone, especially in the info space primarily, why that person would want to sell in any other way than being on platforms like this. And so there's so many businesses out there that I feel like they would just naturally just drop into these pools and these platforms and really move away from, they'll use the bigger tools, YouTube and Facebook and Instagram, obviously, as traffic sources. But I think the day and age of the landing page and the website is just there'll just be too many good results.
Well, I think community is something that's been like in the brand vocabulary for a while. Everyone's like, gotta have your personal brand and my community and my following and that grouping, right? And so it's just it's the next wave. I think like Gary, I've just been like mentioned Caleb at the start, so I've been seeing Gary V's content because he's back again. So like there's a whole new wave of technology kind of taking over and community being the front of that, where like everybody has their own personal brand, their own community that they're building around. So it's easy for anyone. So I think Louis asked in the chat, how do you charge monthly if I'm not an expert, but not a noob and have a lot of experience? Start lower, $15 to $30. Like my answer is like, yeah, whatever feels right, dude. Right, like right within that range, right? Like you don't start by, oh, I'm going to charge 10K because that's the limit and that's what I'm going to do. You could go high ticket and get that one client, or you just do like I just have a free community with some lower ticket things, right? You don't have to necessarily jump, and everyone has access to that. And Skool just makes it so simple. I'm really excited for like video streaming and hosting to come to Skool, and then the merch tab. Sam mentioned the merch tab. I'm like, sweet, I don't need a Shopify store anymore. Like everything is on Skool. Like I just, like you said, drive all traffic from outside onto Skool. Skool's discovery is great as well. Having your community on Sam's profile is pretty good organic source of traffic, right? Little things.
I was going to touch on just for verification of information. The merch tab will be linked to a Shopify store or something similar. So it's not like Skool is not handling fulfillment and delivery. It will be an integrated app on that for you to use it. Yeah.
Still making it easier some way. Like they're going to find a way to
yeah,
make it easier and
it's
unify
linked
for the
in.
system, right?
Yeah.
Which,
yeah.
however you simplify it is better.
Click and buy the merch. I was just thinking of just putting Skool's merch tab. And just sell the Skool merch in my community.
Do the merch tabs like a classroom.
I feel like such a tart here. I literally just found the comments tab, and I'm seeing everybody who's been chatting. Sorry, everybody. I totally missed that one. Do you all see that? Because I just found it. I saw one. I think it was Jamie. I saw Jamie. Yeah, there we go. I saw Jamie's text show up for just a second, and I tried to message him and it just went into private chat. So I'm figuring this thing out as we go. To respond to the question that, how do you say it? Lou? If that's how you pronounce your name there. Charging monthly if you're not a pro or expert. Okay, so this one's really interesting. I would love to just like take a few seconds to address that one because it's a really good question. This isn't Louis. Okay, perfect. Thanks, Louis. So this isn't, there's a little bit of nuance here, but I'm going to unpack it because a lot of people run into this one. I'm not a pro or expert, so why am I qualified to sell a thing? Okay, so the reason why it kind of has a multifaceted answer is because if you don't give a shit about your clients, right, then your fulfillment's not going to be very good. So you're probably like not ever going to wonder the question, I'm not a pro or expert, so how can I sell that? So the fact that you're asking the question is most likely an indication that you care about the result of your client. Okay, let's assume that's true and you're not a sociopath, all right? Which is, I mean, this is, we're on the right tracks based off of the facts of your question, okay? All right, if we assume that's true, then that means that just on the fact that you already care, you're probably going to deliver something that works. So, or at least that you care that it works. So you're going to be measuring the results of that thing. So here's where the fascinating part comes into play. The person who is really good, I'll put it this way. The person who really struggles with a thing can oftentimes be the best person to teach that thing, which is ironic because you don't often hear that. But let's take, for example, money management, right? Let's say there's someone who's just like god awful at it. Well, because they struggle with it, like you can't just slough off money management. That's like a demon that comes back to haunt you if you don't get it straight, right? So if you're dialing that in for yourself and you can't quite crack it, there's a good chance you'll be able to do it really well for other people because you just spend so much time working on it. So you'll often see the situation where like the psychologist can't really figure out their own relationships, but is hired to figure it out for other people. That's pretty much the case for most of us, where we get better at the thing because we were teaching the thing. That's kind of like a human nature thing. So ignore the pro or expert consideration because you will become that. And likely if you're struggling with it or you have struggled with it, that's what's going to make you good if you're caring about the result of what you're delivering. Now, all that set aside, what's the answer to the pricing thing? My recommendation is make it free or free or low ticket, like maybe not too low because people can undervalue that thing. So like without knowing the detail of what you're selling, make it under $100 or over $5,000. Anything in that in between, what you run into in the info space from what I've seen is that a do-it-yourself is pretty cheap and a done for you is pretty expensive. The done with you, which is right in the middle, can often, those lines can blur really easily as soon as you're paying like over $99. So I kind of just avoid that whole area because there's a big learning curve to it. So you can just learn how to do high ticket, or you can just learn how to do low ticket. So you want to get some practice in on all that. Yeah, exactly. So great point, Louis. So I would start free. Bring in some beta clients that you give like a free offer to, and in exchange get some testimonials. Record all those calls. That's a course, right? And then start charging at a low ticket. Get your reps in, and then as soon as you've demonstrated that you've given some results back, which you honestly could do in a month or less, charge that high ticket. And guess what? If you don't deliver, you give their money back. That's how it works, or at least that's how you should be doing it. So don't be scared of the 5K. Don't be scared of the high ticket thing because if you deliver the result and they value it, that's the name of the game here. So maybe that's something to consider. Just wanted to hit that one.
Well, I'm a huge fan of free to paid, and I know Ryan is too.
I'll go on the record. Not anymore, to be honest. I've actually moved away from it. I am a big believer in push your content to your paid community and don't dilute your traffic through on the free one, because You bring people into a free community. That community, those people that join can just join and just be free all the time. And so it actually feels wrong to use it as the lead magnet and then free training and course and everything and then nurture them all through. Sure, there is some level of ascension, but it's not a clear path. It's not like you just do this free thing and then you just move to the paid thing after. Asks a lot of questions of you. It adds a lot of extra complication. You spend so much more time in there. Basically, you're running two businesses. I've been a huge advocate for it the whole time. I literally have those URLs, and I have just transitioned our whole clientele base to just doing paid communities and pushing their traffic there. Reason why? Your content serves as like your free community. Sure, you can have questions and stuff, but like you can also ask and answer questions and comments on YouTube videos, and those are your free training, your lead magnets, your content, who you are, and that's where they know, like, and trust you. And so just from a conversion point of view, I see that you just convert more when you just push everything straight through to a paid one. And if you want to have a free one, I think you should just have it as something that's more fun and where you can just connect and hang out with people rather than just trying to push them and sell them all the time. I think I've just seen it so many times where people have their free communities and then it's just like offer after offer after offer, people join, and it's just like, I feel like you get lost and stuck with what even you're meant to be talking to those people about rather than just having genuine conversations. You get in your own head about it. It gets overly complex. Not this, again, this is like more specific. If you have got over 100 about page visitors, I'm in just a big belief that if you're trying to make money with your communities, you're better off just sending all of your traffic straight to a paid community.
I think the free community becomes the lead magnet, basically, or like you're saying, it has to stay as a community, and then you make it low ticket over time and wrap up, or you monetize through the classroom. Like I follow Goose's advice. I made Be Happy paid for like a week. Nobody joined because it was paid. Made it not paid, like 20, 30 people like that, right? So it's just that I agree with you that the free community needs to kind of be its own space, or you just acknowledge that it is a lead magnet, like with an IRL event. Like it's a free community, and then the ticket and the offer and the thing is happening in person. I know that's something Sarah really wants to talk about.
I was gonna say, just on like you have a free community and you switch it to paid and then no one joins. Like what did you do in order to give it more time in the market to even get like the right data to see if people would pay for it? Like, did you run pricing structure questions with people in the community to figure out what would they actually pay for something if they were to join it? Did you test a free training video on your about page, a VSL, a photo? Did you change your copy multiple times? Did you, right? Like it's effort to make it work, but it's like if 30 people joined your free thing, then it's just like if you gave it a week and you did it, you switch it back to paid, which is literally what I said to so many people as well, is switching your free to paid is like not a good thing. But when you really just obsess over making that page convert the best that you possibly can, then it will work at some point in the future. You just got to give it time for that to work. And if people are so used to clicking on your link, going to your about page and seeing that it's free, but now that it's paid, it can also confuse those people. And a week is probably not long enough in the market to do it. Now, using your free community as a lead magnet, is that really a community? Probably not. It's just a lead magnet. So why not just put your lead magnet on your paid about page to bring people in and then sell them from that point there? Because if you're treating your, I've said this so many times as well, if you're treating your free community as a lead magnet and people in there are leads, then they're not real people that you don't want to care and connect with. So what's the point of having it in the first place, right? Because you're just treating it as, and I've said this so many times, an overpowered email list that you can just speak to your customers and talk to them more and everything. You're basically just becoming a call center then. And it's just like not much of a community that you actually spend time connecting with and just building good relationships with, which is why I've loved everything that I've done basically being in Skool, is because it's a place where you can't even promote, but you can just connect with people, help people for free. And that's purely on your choice to do that. You can't use that place as a place to sell and push things. So it just has a better environment as a community for people that are through Skoolers. And at the end of the day, that's a paid community too. Hence why a lot more people show up there, because you have to have a paid school group to be in there. So I think when I look at a free community is a great starting point if you've never really been in the space before, you haven't really figured it out, you want to, send a link out to a few people and bring them in. But once you start to get your experience, I think pushing it towards a paid community, you're just going to see results across the board really increase. And then if you look at you know, some of the bigger people in this space, they don't really have a free community either, or it's just a lead center. So it's like not actually a free community. It's a really big lead magnet with a lot of complex stuff that goes on with it. And you spend too long obsessing over it.
So that's what you would say if somebody didn't have traffic, like they don't have their shit situated on socials yet, Ryan? And they don't
potentially.
have
I mean, I made my first $5,000 a month having a paid about page, and I sent I think 10 outreaches. So it's not to say like you don't even need to have it. You just got to again understand what you're doing. That's why I think I've liked GIF. I mean, my first community I ever made was $1 a month, and like people join that. It's just again, it comes down to, does it make sense for people to join at this price point, and are you speaking to enough people to show it to really work through that and figure out increasing that conversion rate? And you know, even having a free community, there's so many people. Again, like the advice has always been to like have it as a lead magnet, or put a lead magnet but put it inside your free community. It's just like it's just a sales funnel. It just adds all of these extra steps in there that you can somewhat bypass when you just push it all through to your paid group. Because you will have to do, you know, 3 times, 4 times the work pushing everyone into the free group when you could spend all of that time focusing on creating more content, which genuinely would impact more people because there is a dilution of traffic that go to the free group anyway. If you wanted to help people so much that you want to do that in the free group to buy your offer in the first place, just push more content out on your channels that you're attracting people from there, and just work on making your offer better. If people aren't buying, you're doing something wrong.
When everything you guys broke down, like the beekeeping isn't my focus, and my parents live 5 hours away. So it's kind of like I'm the beekeeper because no one else is doing it, and no one else is an 8th generation beekeeper. But there's another guy who's a 6th generation beekeeper who is doing stuff in the US, can sell people bees. And so I'm just working with him, and he's got the paid community. And now Bee Happy is just a fun hangout, chill place that can take less focus and less time and be more of a community, right? And that member who was like brought in a bunch of people, like he went on vacation and he posts, he's like, hey, I'm back. We're all like, hey, he's back. And we're all celebrating, right? So it's become more of that community feel to it, right? So everything, I like that you guys diagnosed that, because everything that you were saying is true. And I just love watching Goose smile about it the whole time.
Yeah, if I can toss one of my thoughts into it too.
Nope, not a lot. We want to hear about Skool.
Well, cool. We can pivot to that immediately.
Go for it. I'm just kidding.
I think there's. I talk about this actually at a lot of the Skool IRL events, because even though we all do a lot of community stuff, even some of the biggest users on the platform don't really seem to understand community versus a traditional business. And there's some minute but like significant. There's some subtle but significant differences. And I guess the easiest way to explain it is, and I'll keep repeating this over and over and over. If you really boil down community, it's not that, like on paper, it's not that different than your standard online business. You're still like, there's 3 elements to the whole thing. Generally speaking, you've got common purpose, right? Frequent connection. And then you've got the one thing that your traditional business kind of doesn't have, which is inside jokes and like tomfoolery. That's kind of the whole which is like my MO and Ryan's MO and Sarah's. It's just everyone on the call is like, that's what we do for the most part, is just fuck around. And that characteristic is what makes this so much more, oddly enough, monetizable in a community fashion, because you're speaking to the like emotions of the person. So let's say you're now treating a free community as just an ascension pipeline. Well, if you're treating it as a regular business, you're expending the community's like points, if you can call it that, in order to ascend people. So it like wears down the community. And yet, if you're able to, what I've seen if you're able to continue that whole process where, yeah, sure, maybe you're like, hey, there's more value here if you want it, but if not, we can just keep fucking around in this community, which is perfectly fine. I think if more ended up doing that, we might find ourselves in a situation where free communities could be more helpful because they're more fun, and the paid ones kind of are just where you do the business side of things, so that there's still a place for you to be able to like hang out with your buddies. And I just heard about this. There's this new word that I learned recently that I'm obsessed with. It's liming. Have you guys heard this word? I read it somewhere and I hope it catches on. So if you're liming, it means that you're hanging out without any purpose, but intentionally. No purpose. Like, you're not trying to play video games. You're not trying to like do anything. You're just fucking off. And that is, to me, what I think the sole purpose of a free community should be. And if you happen to monetize it, try not to lose the soul of that thing, the line, I guess.
It's kind of the purpose of the School Friends Live. This is me, like, I'm still working on school right now. Like, I'm in the office. I did all my work before, and I got all my work to jump to right after. I'm just taking a break, and then I'm gonna work while I listen to Sam and Kirby talk in 15 minutes, right? Like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, wow, this is going quick. Well, I guess we should hit the IRL talk before we go too much further. Yeah. Please, Sarah, hit us. What are you thinking?
I'm curious, and I think a lot of other people, like school owners and things, like, they'd love the idea of doing IRL events, but like the thought of like, how am I going to get, like, I can look at the map in Schoolers, and like there's several people in Ohio, right? But I've never really talked to them. And like, how do you actually, like, the logistics, right? Because you can only send 10 DMs a day. Not everybody checks in on Schoolers. Like, it got slightly better as far as how many people are on level 1, like when they merged the two groups and like purged a bunch of people, but still, right? So like, how do you like make it happen, right? Like, what are your best tips and tricks? Also, what have you tried that didn't work out so well? That kind of thing. That's what I'm looking for somebody who's never really put on an IRL event but really wants to.
This is a great question. Yeah, we've tried so many different things at this point. I have a few pointers for someone who's looking to get started with an IRL event. The first thing is probably like, you'll hate this, but I'll put it this way. When I came up with the Goose World Tour schedule, I just pulled the dates out of my ass. I was like, it'd be nice if I didn't have to zigzag across the world each time. So I kind of did it by continent for the most part. And when we added Antarctica, we added it with South America. And so it's like we just take a boat from the bottom of South America. So it made sense. But it's interesting to hear that, because usually you're like, oh, we calculated and like there was some official nature to the. No, you just pull it out of your ass. So the way that it works is, generally speaking, you need a center of gravity. And so what you would do is be like, you know what? We're going to have an event in 30 days from today. It's going to be in this city, which hopefully is your city or one nearby. And I'm just going to invite who's ever there. And your expectation should be set on if there is one person that comes, it was a success. You're not trying to shoot for anything in particular. In fact, I've gone to Tokyo, for example. That was expensive. And we hung out with like 5 people there. Pretty much the entire population of the Skool platform was in attendance. And so there's something to be said about like keeping your expectations on just the action of doing it itself, right? So you show up, let's say 5 people show up to the thing. You just pick a date, you pick a venue. Ideally, you don't have to pay for it. It's like a bar or some public space that you just like take a table at. Or maybe you reserve it and it's $500 and totally worth it for you because you want to hang out with buddies and hang out with people that are on the same wavelength. Or as all the Skool Games winners were saying, be in a room where you don't have to explain yourself, which is significant. I would pay good money for that all the time. I do. And so if you can do, I guess, those 3 things, maybe I should just make a post of this, because people do ask a lot, like, how do you just do it on a whim? And if you do those 3 things and then document, the last part is just like, it could be something really simple. Shoot a little video. It doesn't have to be edited, really. Certainly nothing graceful. And just like, post a big like, hey, I met up with this person. We had a good time. We threw back a couple of beers and limes, right? That's the sort of thing that I think is what that like that's a perfect IRL to me, because it doesn't end when the IRL ends. It just fosters a stronger, like significantly stronger relationship with anyone nearby. And a little bit of a secret, everything that's on Skool, there we go, Fetty, that's what I like to hear, man. By the way, that's the Skool mayor in Egypt right there. He's in Cairo, like an 8 hours train ride away right now. Dude's awesome. So yeah, if you're, wow, what was the last thing I was saying? I was going to end on one final note. If you're, what was the last thing I said? I was almost done, and then I lost it.
You were saying you were about to host your first IRL event.
Yeah. So if you're about to host your first IRL event, you pick a place, you pick your location, you lock those things down, and then anyone else, and then whoever attends, you document with, and when you're done with that, it keeps going. You're trying to, oh, I remember what the last thing was. Okay, I just had to walk through it manually myself. The last thing was
the last thing?
It was a secret. So everything on Skool runs on a rolling schedule. You'll notice in your data, it's like a rolling 30, which is why all of us are like, well, this shit isn't making sense some days, right? So the limit of 10 per week is a rolling 10. So if you reach out to 1 or 2 people per day, at the end of, like, every day, you'll get a couple more people. And 10 people is a lot for outreach. That's actually pretty graceful. I've reached out to like 3 people. And in fact, that's how I met Fetty. We landed in Egypt. Day 2, we shot out 5 messages, and Fetty was one of them. And then lo and behold, he was hosting us for the rest of the next 2 weeks. And all of our experience in Egypt was because of that. I mean, that's its own story right there. And I recorded a good chunk of that, which I'd love to share. But yeah, don't undervalue the 10. You can actually go really far with that.
I think that's, I got Heather and I to chat with you because she was like, I want to do an IRL event. I was like, Goose knows how to do it. And we met with you. And then we got Toronto added because we were like, how come you're only doing one coast? Is it Kelowna or Vancouver? You're like, I didn't realize those places were that far apart. So it's literally like, you like pick calendar, dart, map, dart. This is where we're going. This is what we're doing, yeah. Right? It looks a little bit more planned, but it's really, that's it.
Dude, if there's anything you could, like, the most successful people you'll ever hang out with are always, they'll all say the same thing. I don't know. I'm just kind of like figuring it out as I go. That's how it works. So if you don't know what you're doing, great. You're part of the human race, man. That's just how this thing goes. So don't let your uncertainty of what's going to happen stop you, because that's actually what's stopping you, is you just do it. And sometimes it works and then you keep going. That's pretty much how you do anything business related, maybe anything in life really. But yeah, I mean, the same thing goes with Antarctica. Like the post I made today was like, Tony, the guy on my team, was like, hey, why are we not doing all 7 cut? Like, why did we stop short? And I wasn't even thinking about it like that. I wasn't thinking on order of continents. And so it was, 10 minutes later, I said, yeah, fuck it. Let's just do Antarctica. That sounds awesome. Even though I don't like the cold that much, I would love to plant a flag for a minute down there. And as soon as I mentioned it to a handful of people, I was really surprised how excited people were to go hang out in an Arctic wasteland. They're like, see, it doesn't matter where you go. You're there with people you want to hang out with, right? Like here I am in Egypt. It's hot as shit here. It's cold as hell there, but people are still coming, and people live in these places. Well, maybe not. Maybe it's penguins in Antarctica.
I was going to say, who's in Antarctica? Who's the school mayor of Antarctica?
Yeah, fix the map bug where they
we're gonna have to
in the water.
Pick a penguin, or just leave someone there and be like, you're the mayor now.
It's like those fire lookouts or something. It's just like, that's a school mayor we have to elect. They have to decide to go.
Yeah. Was that helpful at all, Sarah, that breakdown?
Yes, I think so. And I think it's also key, like you mentioned. I think a lot of people, like whether, and it doesn't matter what it is, like but specifically for IRL events, think, oh, well, I need to have this special venue and spend this amount of money. No, just like call a bar or call the restaurant, like whatever your favorite restaurant is, and be like, hey, can I reserve a table for this many people, right? Like whether the people show up or not. And like, you and I jive much more on the like kind of thing. Like you just show up and see what happens, right? You're just hanging out with friends. And it can be really, really amazing. So yeah, I just wanted to like pick your brain a little bit because I know there are a lot of people that I've talked to, right, that they don't really know how to do that. And hearing it from you that it's just about taking the messy action, right, and doing the damn thing, like taking that step and risking it and then seeing what happens. That's what's key.
My favorite line that I've heard recently, and I keep using it a lot, is "You build the plane while you're flying," which sounds counterproductive, but yeah, that's exactly.
And I think that's a lot of entrepreneurs. It's like, well, we're gonna try this thing, and we jump into it, and we're like, well, fuck, this isn't working. I need to build this thing. Oh well, this is broken. Okay, And but by the time you're done, you're like, you look back and you're like, holy hell, how the hell did that happen? Right?
Yeah, that's right. You'll look back and be like, oh shit, I accomplished that? That's pretty impressive. Yeah, it was just you saying like, yeah, let's just do it. Throw caution to the wind and give it a go.
What's the thing Ryan was saying earlier about there being like a new wave coming? I'm like, any of us on the call and any of us listening, we haven't done anything special. We just did that. Like we just did the thing, and then we're like, oh, this kind of worked. Let's just keep it. Oh, this kind of worked. Right. And that's the whole new wave of people coming that are going to be where we were. And then we're able to look back and then, hey, no, here's how I did the Skool IRL. You just kind of do them. Right. We're able to help that next wave. And I think it's going to be crazy. 2025 is already looking really cool. But like 26, 27, imagine 2030 on Skool. Oh, yeah. Big prediction.
Right. Dude, I have something to offer up. Like for anyone who's still not convinced about the IRL thing, like, no, it has to be official. It has to be right. I spent on the first, I learned so much within like the first 5 events, and on like Miami and Mexico alone, like I did these so that you don't have to. I spent 35.
I can hear an offer coming.
No offer. I spent 35 grand.
I did this so you don't have to, and that's why in today's inline course you can 35 grand.
On those 2 events. Yeah. And was it worth 35 grand? I mean, yes, but you didn't have to spend that kind of money. And in fact, it would have gotten better because if I found a nice environment. I was thinking in my mind at this time, like professional, which isn't me at all anyways. And so like this weird ethereal thing of what you think it should be, especially with IRLs, it doesn't need to be. It doesn't need to be expensive. Doesn't need to be fancy. The best ones I've done were fucking cheap. Well, relative to 35K, certainly, but like you get what I'm saying here. I absolutely believe in just the fact of it being a place that you just get to have a few hours to lime around. Everything goes well.
That's like, that was the best part about like every Skool event that I'd been to was like everything but like the whole point of being there. It's just like you just got to sit down and like connect with like people are playing Smash Bros. That's like, yes, like I don't want to go to this event to like just talk about work. I want to connect with people. And
that's
like
right.
there's people at these like Skool events who are like good mates and stuff, and like tuck themselves in a bedroom and like are working the whole time and doing all of them. Like, what are you doing, bro? Like what it was really funny to like see sometimes at the event. It was like we're all community builders, but we suck at being a community in person because it's like, no, you have to kind of get out of your shell and stuff. It's something that I've had to like really work on doing. Like here, I'm not really trying to like, well, I don't know what's going to happen, but just even I've noticed like, because I'm kind of a little bit more isolated here in Thailand and I speak to a lot of people online, in person, like it's really random just to speak to people in person now because I'm not around a lot of like social interaction in person. So I just really put like a lot of effort into just be like, where are you from? And asking those questions. Like as soon as if I see someone like the coffee shop I go to was like packed today, I'm like, oh, perfect. And I can hear, I'm like, oh, that's like a UK accent, an Australian one. I'm like, where are you guys from? Like how long? It's just like connect with people. And then even if the conversation starts off in 20 seconds, it's just like, at least I did something to kind of connect with people and see what people are up to. So again, it's all about just putting yourself out there and just really not caring what the result's going to be, because at least you did something about it and you took the first step towards achieving it. Because at the end of the day, it might turn into a lifelong friend that you meet at that one person that shows up at your event, or no one shows up, but hey, at least you did something for yourself and you got out of the house on that day.
You got drunk alone. Awesome. That's still a win. You said something that was that I want to hit on really quick there, which was the like you hanging out and you're just playing Super Smash Brothers or something like that. Like that characteristic is the one that I'm talking about that differentiates traditional business from a community, right? It's that tomfoolery, that inside joke factor, right? You could all be introverts or extroverts, doesn't fucking matter. When you have that element that isn't true for your standard business, really, and in a lot of cases, usually like shunned, right? This is how you know you're stepping into the community space. It's because you're able to say like the jokes that you can't say publicly and everyone laughs and life continues just as it was beforehand. Like that's when you know you're in your community. And it exists because a community exists because there's people outside of it. Inherently, there's some that will fit in it and some that won't fit in it. And that ability, it feels so like I mean we're all been there. We're on the damn platform. That's what allows us to be able to just like be ourselves. And so all of a sudden you've accomplished all, like really, I guess what I'm trying to say is this: when you're trying to deliver a result to your clients, how would they prefer it? Having fun or being serious? Well, I'm pretty sure most people would choose one over the other. And I think that's why the success of Skool is so significant, is because of the ability to integrate this human emotional, like tomfoolery element with the achievement.
Yeah,
Sarah has one last thing to say. If anyone is not a Skooler, you can click a link down below to become a Skooler, or click any of the links down below to find any of us. And we'll be on Skool News like right now. But Sarah, take us away.
Oh, I forgot is one. So if the one tip I have, like, don't be afraid to talk. Like, and all of us have stories of like, yes, we've jumped in, and yes, we've shared our story. Yes, we've talked to other people and got DMs. Hey, you need to like switch how you're doing this or like whatever. But then you're able to pivot and you continue forward, right? Like, don't be afraid to jump in and to hang out.
That's right.
And hang out with us next time. And we'll see you guys on Skool News, where we're hanging out again. Thanks, guys.
Peace.
All right.
Bye-bye.